Can't you see I'm throwing rocks? The fuck are you talking about?
He's calling us Kuno.
You will see.
The language these kids are using.
Alright.
The kid moves his hands like a basketball. Irregular speech patterns. Overconfidence.
Right, Pig. This is where Kuno doesn't know shit about that. That shit is beneath Kuno. Listen. Kuno doesn't care about this small-time shit. Kuno could...
You'd have to be blind not to notice the giant white letters. F-A-L-N.
Look, Kuno ain't seen shit lying around. Except for that.
The lieutenant remains.
Pig, these are found modulars. Liquid fit, performance crotch, urban survival shit. Believe it, you need...
These could drastically improve your chances of survival in the urban wilderness. Coach Physical Instrument endorses these pens. They will also make you into it.
Alright, Piggo, shit's rolling.
Don't do business with the pig, Kuno. He's gonna...
As you can see, Kuno and C don't trust you. Can't do business without... The fuck? A mug in the trash. Is this about the fucking... Yeah, Kuno sees where this is going. Kuno's got that fast brain. You saying you pigs are after the mug fucker?
I can't hear you, Kuno. Speak louder, Kuno.
Shit, that's tense. Someone's going to the beat-down basement, huh? Kuno doesn't know who put...
Tell the Kuno who it was. He's curious. He likes...
Stop turning into a pig, Kuno.
Yeah, get your bacon shit. No, it's not fucking Kuno's.
He thinks you're
Get the fuck out of here, pig. Dunno. Keep that gardener used to work there.
Kipped is a pejorative term used to describe people.
Yeah, that's what Kuno said. She couldn't handle the heat, so she took off. Kuno can take it. Look, Kuno...
Yeah, her. What was she doing in the greenhouse in March anyway? Fish is sometimes used to fertilize the soil a few weeks before planting something. Maybe... Yes, it seems suspicious. You don't like things be...
That's just some shit roofing gimps left behind. Lazy...
He's hiding something.
Pig, if Kuno was hiding something...
But it is not hidden, is it, sire?
Yeah, whatever. Kuno doesn't give a shit. Shitload.
Don't tell the pig
This is where you quickly ask him questions. Real cop.
Kuno's fuck gimp.
He's trying to hide the fact.
Kuno knows all kinds of shit. Kuno's not a snitch. That's all. Probably climbed. You heard Kuno.
The city's too large for him to have left.
Told you, pig bait. Fucking mess.
There is no night city.
Why you gotta be... You wanna know where?
Don't tell him.
It's not fucking...
Lame.
That's the name of Kuno City, bitch. Get the fuck off Kuno's back. This shit ain't...
It's impossible to deduce what it is.
Just a couple of...
Yeah, you tell the...
Your test...
Get lost.
Kuno doesn't...
Advanced race theory. An old call box with a matrix of push buttons. Whatever she says, it can't. All right. Maybe not healthier. There's a light buzz as you... There's the stat...
Yes, hello. This is Triton Tenniel Electric. Have you come to place an order?
Here come the bad vibes again. Relax.
It's you. My...
Wait. Is she...
Michelle. Just... Why did...
Is this some kind of joke? The voice from the intercom doesn't...
It's so nice to be able...
And then it hits you. She tries again not to cry, and still doesn't succeed complete. Her sound. This is where you hung up the call the last time. The phone rings in the office with an old-fashioned chime, and someone walks by in a pair of heels. The static. No one replies, but the static grows stronger like rainfall. Then a female voice speaks out, completely different from the one before. Glory. Her words are too cold to comprehend. She smells of sodium lights and rain streaks on car windows. eyes like pilot lights.
So... It was a recording trapped in the circuitry from some ancient tenant. This sometimes happens. Don't take this the wrong way, but during our short stint working...
That is true. All you hear is static. You ring the doorbell. You wait. Looks like someone has... Silence. Silence. No one. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. Silence.
Hello again, officer. How are... Well, this might be the last snow we get. At least I hope so. Snow has nutrients in it. Helps everything green.
Yes, think about the cute grandma, not the weird snow. Stop looking at her. Look around. What do you see? That's right. And the canal, the bookstore, the harbor gates. This is a great vantage point for keeping an eye on you. Glad to have been of service. Now you know the locals are keeping tabs on you.
Excuse me? Oh, well, I didn't write it there. I'm just sitting here. Okay.
The unpromising raised pupil returns.
He does not so much as glance at the object.
Stop showing me your pathetic.
He had nothing to do with it.
And everyone can see that. It has
Baby, don't be mean. Give him another chance.
anything for you. Fascinating. The Revacholian degenerate shows signs of racial self-reflection. How did you accomplish this little feat? So it would seem, Thorloful. And, of course, if the Revacholian degenerate is capable of critical thought, he may still prove.
Jean, baby. Do the heroic thing.
That is not possible. The game of Shahmat you play again. You will not. You cannot withstand the wasteland of realite.
It's super hard, Jean.
Very well. You may enter.
Well done. Let's go.
It's the ledger you found in the trash. A pitiful cabbage of white and yellow papers hanging from plastic board, barely held together by a metal clip. There's a piece of toilet paper, or is it cleaning tissue? It's a metaphor for thank you, waterlogged ledger, for spelling it out for us. It's just toilet paper sticking to the back of the plastic clipboard. Still wet, the toilet paper peels off the plastic easily. All you have, an aluminium block runs the width of the board, biting down. The surface is interrupted by a silvery sticker. Looks like an official mark, made to be low visibility outside. It is similar to the RCM watermark on your blazer, the loop.
What? Yes, halogen watermark used for adding information. It depends. Aside from an anti-counterfeiting stamp, mine has my
Maybe yours will have how many cases you've solved.
Any capable light with the right wavelength will do. Yes, RCM vehicles have headlights tuned especially to reveal halogen watermarks.
This means you can read the watermarks if you just turn the lights on.
Okay.
While a bunch of sodden papers sat, they're not exactly white. They're yellowed in patches by sunlight and alcohol, and covered in dense blue handwriting. Once in a while, there's a red stamp that exclaims, "Case files commit to paper. Work, strife, poverty, the Jamrock Quarter. These are..." It's the middle of March. You have attempted... What do you mean? Is that all? The notebook is annual. It says 51 on what remains of its cover. A molten strap of cardboard. Everything prior to this.
Huh? 2 complex cases to undertake is a lot, yes. You really have to push yourself. I would not suggest it, lest you start making mistakes. 2? That's a lot. I didn't mean to say you are making mistakes, by the way. I prefer a normal case.
Like a fan of girls, the checkered papers. Yes, a title, one might say even. One that, yes, all caps. One is called The Next World Mural. Another, The Square Bullet Hole Murders. Another yet, The Unsolvable Case. Others appear more light-hearted. The guys on a couch in an unexpected location, and the murder at the hookah parlor. Even the rare article. It's going to take an effort to piece these case files together, but it can be done.
You mean the alphanumeric? Officer, precinct, time of arrival at the scene? Oh, you mean the titular? Yes, well, so do I. In our defense, almost everyone in the RCM does. It's a holdover from the early days of the RCM, right after the revolution, when the organization had little idea how to do things. It persists in an unofficial capacity. Again, in your defense, I seem to have named one. I pray his loved ones. Rail spiked through the head. He died. It was a workplace accident.
There is, for precisely one more. Once all the tasks, sadly, the ledger only comes with an old, worn-down lead pencil. The ledger only comes with an old, worn-down... The lieutenant looks at his blue notebook. 2 fat He is not really absolutely... Onto the paper. Inspect the victim's body. Interview the cafeteria. It's not exactly poetry, but poetry would be out of place. A satisfying slash sounds across the paper. You're done. It's things to be done and things already done.
No, actually. Any ideas? Yes. I have to tell you, officer, I don't appreciate... They're not going to get it. They're going to think... Great! I'm going to start calling it the hanged man. It's good we sorted this out.
You don't exactly close them, so much as distance yourself from the... Yes, you can piece them together using the alphanumeric code on the margin. It always begins with HDB 41, then date of initialization and time of arrival on the scene, followed by the title. For example, HDB 41120111700, the Next World Mural. It takes about half an hour to piece one together using the system you've devised. This one is relatively easy to reconstruct. Overnight on 1202, a graffito, nay, a mural, appears on an 8-story tenement. Cause of failure. Rent too high. The mural is enormous. 2 silhouettes, and true love is possible only in the next world. For new people, it is people call it that thing and that fucking thing. It's visible for miles. In 2 days, the station's complaints desk gets clogged with requests to remove. The graffito crew is easy to track down. Only the bell lectures have the literage of industrial paint to cover this. The case files do not show you finding the author of. The crew agrees to clean up after themselves. However, your partner, JV, is against the removal, citing public support for conservation. This leads to a debate in Precinct 41, which then spreads to the streets of Jamrock, ending in a rare plebiscite. The 9,000 people subjected to the mural's message, all of Lakeside, Central Jamrock, and Villalobos, plus half of the eminent domain, participate in the vote. Although the case begins with what appears to be a staggering 78% of voters choose to keep it, turns out the opposition were a loud minority. And that love. Did anyone ask you what you believe in, man with the smelly toilet ledger? What do you want to tackle next? Or AKA Leslie and Burke, AKA the public indecency drunk and the property damage drunk, is a cursed case. It has been passed from unsuspecting officer to unsuspecting officer for 10 years. On January 29, the unsolvable case made its way to you. Why you accepted it, it is unclear. Every officer, and indeed most, Leslie will always take his pants off when he's drunk. Burke will always trash everything. It's just what they do. It is their nature. You cannot change the nature of a man, and you can't lock them away because public indecency, the only way for Leslie to stop flashing his genitals to bypassers and for Burke to stop dismantling signage and rear view mirrors, would be for them to stop drinking alcohol, which in their 40s or 50s, it's hard to tell because of their distorted features, is a medical improbability on par with you ceasing to produce the express, threatening fines, dragging them to the station, locking them up in the hellholes they live in, locking them up in the station, hypnotherapy, even trying to get the local gang of Zemyaki to take them out. The Zemyaki gave them ethanol, so Burke and Leslie would expose and rampage even harder. You tried it all. It's plain to see from the files that you, Satellite Officer JV, and Special Consultant TH, had more important cases to attend to. You uncover cross-reference to several ongoing investigations, each brought to a standstill every time you drive down Main Street. Because there they are. Good, you're learning. If the files are to be trusted, that's all there is to it. That and Burke breaking. He must have it confused with the property he likes to damage. But the joke's on him. You're drunk out of your mind on potent Pilsner. You slam the hardened plastic board. In the process, the ledger sustains damage. The compartment within, reserved for permeable documents, is jammed shut. You stop your assault on the now unconscious Burke to open it, but are unable to do so. The officer began to cry. He came at us, and at us. I think he was trying to kill Burko. While trying to kill Burko, you slowly come around. The permeables compartment is open. You've smashed it open on poor Burko's knee. Can't get out of his apartment. An invalid. With Burke to tend to, Leslie cuts back on the indecent exposure. Maybe he flashes his genitals to Burke. Who knows? But both drunks are off the... Which is also why the officer responsible narrowly escapes a disciplinary hearing. The end. Do you want to read another one? It would be very interesting to read about these, wouldn't it? I mean, there seems to be a square-shaped entry wound in the victim's forehead. She's been sitting there for weeks, on her rocking chair, with a square hole. That's all you got. From the half hour you spent piecing it together, all you know is the entry wound was square-shaped. You never found the bullet. And then another body showed up, also with a square hole in his forehead. Who knows? Those pages are missing. What one day you may still catch the man with the square gun. Some assholes brought their couch outside and hung out on it. In the middle of the street, on the roof, on the hillside by the motorway. You know, at an unexpected location. They were young, and they thought they looked, yes, as you said here, insufferable rock and roll assholes. Young people are the worst. So anyway, you got a complaint about the damn sofa. They were leaving it out in all these unexpected and whimsical locations. They took it to where they also took photos of themselves on it. Cigarette butts, coffee cups, stupid couch. You had to clean it all up. And you did. No, you didn't have time for that. These notes show that you have what is called a real goddamn job. You don't have time to be chasing down the cow. Murder. Tum tum tum. At the hookah parlor was a case originally assigned to an officer called Joseph Mills, who is now dead. Of circumstances beaten to death by a throng of Villalobos gang members when him and his partner J.M., only initials mentioned, answered a call one night. It's a sad story, and it isn't really represented in you. Joseph Mills was on this case that he just couldn't solve, was doing it solo, said it was a real nutcracker, a real brain twister, was on it for, like, a month. The captain got impatient. Mills didn't get off the pot. Not yet. He kept at it for a couple of weeks more, racking his brains, running with every theory, as outlandish as they seemed. Still couldn't solve the murder. No, he was awful. Awful sense of humor, too. The worst jokes you've ever heard. Really rapey. Okay, so the case is handed to you because Mills isn't getting anywhere, and you look into it. Here's the setup. A young man is found dead in a hookah parlor. You know, yeah, really lame. So anyway, young man in his 20s found with his skull busted open, right on the floor of the hookah parlor, in the middle of the day. No one enters, no one exits. He's just sucking on his watermelon hookah all morning, all noon, like he usually does. He's a regular. No calls, nothing, just sucking on the hookah. Mills has no idea. Invisible assassin, movie deal gone sour. Girl at the counter did it. Nothing fits. Eerie. Man just dropped dead. So you go to the parlor. You see cushions around the table. Table's low. See? You can't even read the thing without solving it. Yeah, it was that. Turns out hookah does do something. It turns off your brain's oxygen supply. And you don't notice it until you get up to go to the smoking hookah. Didn't you hear? I don't know. Not much has changed in the meanwhile. A bunch of sodden papers still sat. In the back, you see thin, translucent copy paper. Some neon yellow, some bright red, all covered in boxes, like mark. Then rip them from the binder and hand them out. According to 3, the topmost are misconduct fines. The middle ones are station calls. You don't have to be an intellectual giant. A monetary penalization ranging from... But they appear. These are quite sinister and all in a print. The rest of the stinking cellulose it's made of dark blue plastic, hard enough to beat someone to submission. Something rattles inside, ever so lightly, and something small inside, light, made of paper or permeables. It's not hidden per se. The compartment, the plastic shimmers like lapis lazuli. With your hands, you 4-sized pages hang from the clip, screwed to the... The 2 sides of the board appear slightly misaligned, like a drawer. The slides snap back into place. Without resistance or sound, the 2 panels move against each other. 2 ticket stubs and a handmade postcard. 2 octopuses are smiling. reaching their tentacles toward each other in the colored pencil drawings. The tickets permit access to the... You feel that thing in the back of your head, that little voice, that quiet... You've got business to deal with first. Talk to the union boss first, at least. I can't stop you for long, but there's just enough of an excuse now. The words just crossed your mind. Who do you think? It's slightly, ever so slightly, difficult. The acidic stench of rotting food is rubbed off on the cell, you know, like the bits they put into public piss. Remember when I said the smell of the upstairs bathroom was so rank they should have sent a Why, yes it is. Among many other things. This cleaning tablet is used by the whirling in rags. Perhaps that's where the ledger was. It's just a racist mug. What's there to read here? Not much. Oh boy, here we go. What are you going to say about a broken, tossed-away mug that you dug out of the garbage? But it was in the trash. Why not just call it? It's the ledger you found in it. It's just a... But it... The front of this quarterly journal features a large satirical portrait of the late King Friesel from the sides of his head, because white antlers are one of the symbols of communism. They represent a society in accord with the natural world, because Friesel was incompetent, foolish, and cruel. In short, the embodiment of everything. To your disappointment, after rifling the pages with your thumb, the magazine is divided into several sections. International. Lonesome, long way home. Here we go. Home awaits. Walk past Station 41 and through the market, past the Boogie Street spearhead, to the other side of the lake, the frozen eye at the center of the district. Then, past the video rental store on the corner. There, at the end of a street lined with pine trees, a small house no larger than a matchbox. On second glance, someone has forgotten.
It's unfortunate for the...
The drawer opens smoothly. Inside, hundreds of documents containing logistical data. Two kinds of transactions stand out. Materials and the same materials. It's hard to make sense of this thicket of company names, dates, quantities, and look how blurry all hermeneutics was almost within your grasp. You're a police officer, not a spiritual healer.
Is that what you're doing with those photos over there? Right. This is probably not relevant to our case.
Whatever's hidden here is hidden well. Concentration isn't enough. Only a trained accountant with a background. It appears to be a to-do list written in large, Remember, Leo, Everard's shoes. Special whirling borscht. Water Everard's plant. All items on the list have been crossed out, and the note itself is crumpled.
Everard Clare, probably. The head of the Debarders Union. One of his aides must have left it.
The special borscht. Remember, Leo, all items on the drawer slides. Looks like someone left his tarpaulin cloak hanging on the railing here. As your fingers touch, This is the night watchman's booth. The name. Listen, it's okay to take a few minutes to yourself. Sit down and have a breather.
If you must. But please hurry. We are pretty.
Nothing incriminating catches your eye. The cabinets are clean and their sparse contents meticulously organized. There's a framed photograph on the table. It's a black and white photo of a young couple out in a street fair. The man is young, dark-skinned, and dressed.
Why did you take that? Fine. But let's move. I don't want...
The chair is not as austere as the rest of the booth. A thin grey pillow is attached to the seat, secured to the stiles by black ribbons. Stale air floods through your nostril. The drawers are empty, save for old timesheets and receipts. Once you take the painkillers, they are yours now. Oh boy, where to start? Elevated risk of dementia? Don't think about that. Quick, think about something else. The enormity of the case. You stand and exit the booth.
Container, I'll turn you nice and red.
The lyrics to this container song are being made up. The accent is so thick, it's impossible not to notice he's Ubi.
Container, used to be what Everard, he looks after everyone. Huh? I see you are not a union man, mister. Did you get lost? You're not one of them scabs, are you? I mean, I don't personally mind. Folks is just folks, you know, and folks gotta eat. Just some of the other guys don't look too kindly on the sky. Oh yes, born and raised in Irish, mister. Mum had people say us Ubis are up to all...
Thank you for clarifying that, sir.
Oh, I'm just making some covers for them containers here. Yes I am. So it's easier for the crane operators to spot them.
The containers in the yard are green in Wild Pine's livery, and the mount... It's like some red infection was spreading outwards from the container yards. There appear to be cisterns underneath the Union container covers.
Yes, they are hiding it from the inside. All the red containers have the Debarders Union logo on them.
No, not really. Mr. Everett doesn't tell me all the big things. Says I go and tell them to everyone. Oh, I don't know, mister. They say it's some chemicals. Most of them have labels on them, I think. Oh, no trouble at all, mister. No trouble at all. Oh, most of the guys are down at the gates, keeping the scabs from coming in. We're on a strike. Oh,
So no one is working?
not everyone is down there, of course. Mr. Everard is in his office, where he always is. And Jean-Luc is... But Titus and his boys got into some drunken trouble and Everard sent them on a nice vacation. For a week or so. Oh, I'm not really supposed to talk about that. That's union business. Him and his boys stirred up something in town. Probably drank too much and got into a fight or something. I heard Mr. Everett telling them to take some time off. I guess the boys got a bit too rowdy and had to let out some steam. I don't really know the details. That's just how boys are, you know.
Easy, Leo. Let's keep this on the hearties.
Look at him. It's not going to be anything useful anyway. Don't fight it. Better to go with the flow. Too late. Leo's mouth is still moving and the words are spewing forth. Words. Now he's talking about some drunk sawmill owner.
Yes, yes. Everybody needs it. I'm like Mr. Everett's right-hand man. When Actually, Miss Beaufort is the right-hand man, but she's a lady.
Who is this, Miss Beaufort?
A real pretty lady with a skin like those Douai Sucre candy bars my missus likes so much. Them are real nice, but I can't listen to the radio all the time. Lizzie, she is a real sharp tool. Mr. Everett put her through some fancy school and everything, east of the river.
He respects that word.
But she's a real nice girl. Grew up in this here neighborhood. Knows everybody and gets along with everyone. Real pillar of the community. If me missus and me was to have a child, I'd be real happy if she turned out like her. Dr. Lemaitre said so. And she knows about...
So Everett trained a lawyer named Miss
Yes, this place really seems to run like clockwork.
Well, thanks a lot. Coming from you, sometimes I feel some of the guys don't really get how much I... Oh, yes, yes. I leave all kinds of notes for myself. That old head of mine ain't so good at keeping things in them. Oh, yes. I've been taking special whirling borscht to the men every day since the strike started. It's very, very good. Makes a man feel so warm and happy. I feel like I could take on Mr. Renadan's boar dogs every time the... Yes, yes. I'm taking it to them. The borscht keeps them... Oh, the whirlings cook. He makes it. Them is always talking with Mr. Manana in that weird language and laughing together. He doesn't speak what we speak. He's from Grad. Oh, sure, mister. Sure. You do that. Yes, sir.
He didn't actually understand what you meant. And now he's just nodding along.
Oh, that one. That should be empty as far as I know. Lots of containers here have nothing in them. They're just waiting to be loaded up. Oh, you want Mr. Everett then? He's an awfully nice fellow, he is. Him and his brother are both nice. Guys like Mr. Everett and Mr. Edgar, his brother, are real good guys. Made Martinez what it is today. Mr. Everett... Oh, Mr. Everett is where he always is. In his office, of course. Bye-bye now.
Before you is a walrus of a man seated behind a large desk. He looks up from his work. not the least bit surprised to see you. With great effort, he straightens himself up in his chair, with a mixture of expectation and impatience. Well,
Welcome, Mr. Dubois, Mr. Kitsuragi. It's good of you two to stop by. Please, have a seat. I'm Everard Clare, head of the Debarders Union here in Martinez. I'd offer you my hand, but unfortunately my health prevents me.
he looks extremely comfortable. The tiny folding chair, on the other hand, looks like a...
You go ahead, detective.
Whatever he has in store for you, it can't be good, he thinks. I'll do my best. Forget about that. What's with this bois stuff? You're getting some seriously bad vibes from that name.
Excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can see that you're a reasonable man, and reasonable men can be of great use to one another. So tell me, how can the head of the
The chair you're sitting on has got to be the most uncomfortable chair in the world.
Oh, by the way, I heard you got a rather rude reception from a certain Lawrence Gart. Some people have known this should take care of that nonsense. It should be sufficient to cover your expenses for a few days and patch over your differences with a cafeteria manager.
Wow, that's 25 real. That's good money. You need it.
Yes, I know Lawrence. He's a real character. No union man.
With a grin, he points to the checker game. It's like you're on a...
Okay. I respect a man with principles. No handout. Now, I'd like to set your mind at ease about one matter. Your lost gun. Let me assure you, union people are on it as we...
His slug-like lips move, but all you hear is an echo. Lost gun, lost gun, lost... The world is swallowed by a black hole of fear. When he said, don't worry, he actually meant, be very worried.
Are you all right, Harry? You seem anxious. Don't be. Everything's going. It's not like you left it loaded. You didn't lose a loaded gun. Local children aren't out there playing with it right now, pointing it into their own mouths.
It was loaded. There were 2 bullets in it. You always keep at least 2 barrels loaded.
Officer, we will deal with this later. We don't need...
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
Officer.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
God, you're sweating. Your knee is jerking. You're about to cry, aren't you?
Mr. Dubois, you don't look so good.
What is this, Mr. Dubois? He keeps repeating. What is he trying to pull here?
Mr. Dubois! Mr. Dubois! Harry! Mr. Dubois!
Maybe you could use your hands somehow, in a kind of throw motion, like you're throwing that Mr. Dubois act right back at him. He's Mr. Dubois.
What an odd demonstration of... you got me, Harry.
Okay, enough. We are here to ask you some questions.
Quick, here's your window. Get yourself together and ask...
Honestly, I didn't want to bring it up, Harry. I heard you have become Measurehead's race pupil. Personally, I'm not... Let me assure you. Anyway, I assure you, I am a very well... Of course. Let us dispatch with the formalities. You call me Everard, I call you My God, so it's true. I didn't want to believe it, but you are a fantastic science fiction amnesiac cop, aren't you? What are the odds of that?
I think the odds of that are very low.
It might be a good idea to hide your confusion.
So good to hear that, Harry. Apparently my sources were wrong. However, if you did have a spot of memory trouble, I could help you out with my big...
Words flow like a river of honey from his lips. I guess word has already reached him. No, it's just a brown folder. You can't make out what's written on it.
Are you trying to tell me you've gotten hold of some of our documents?
Mr. Kitsuragi, would you mind? Me and Harry are talking about his lost...
Don't just jump to the folder. That's not smart. Shows your... As you look at the folder, Everard covers it with his hand.
Okay, Harry, you got me. This is from the Census Bureau, not the RCM. Those Census Bureau people are...
He got the name from the Census Bureau, and everything else from your actions here.
Yes, Mr. Kitsuragi, from the Census Bureau. Like I said, now I'm actually a very busy man.
That means he doesn't really know anything about a pity. The mystery of you will have to remain a mystery for the time being.
Yes, that's what I said. Try to keep up, okay? Let's move on. Oh, of course. That's your main thing here. That's why you're in Martinez. I know I mean, it's no secret that the lynching is connected to the strike. So much to talk about, honestly. But there's a thing that's been keeping me up at night. I want to talk about the hanging. I mean, if we could just...
Yes, that sounds good. Let's do that.
But I can't think straight with this thing weighing on me. You're police officers, aren't you? I have a crazy idea. You guys are basically door-opening machines, incredibly talented at opening doors. Oh, you're being too modest, my friend. But don't worry, this annoying thing I have is completely legal.
An excellent opportunity presents itself, sire. You could win the trust of the arch-liar, pretend to play into his hand. Then, should you wish...
Fantastic, my friend. You can get the key from Manana. He's down by the gates. Manana's like a free agent in the Union. Special operations. Hardened socialist. A real free thinker, too. He'll tell you precisely where the door is. Just open the door. You don't need to go in or anything. I just want that weasel to come home and see the unlocked door. I don't know what that means, Harry. Shady brew? There are so... You know what? Don't even tell me. Whatever...
He sincerely has no idea what you were talking about. And he doesn't care either.
Yes, your lost gun. My best men are on it. They're turning every stone. Your gun will be found, Harry.
The only way to find it seems to be working with him. He might even be holding... Who knows? Only one thing is certain. If you work with him, you're going to get it back. And working with him might be the only...
Damn it, Harry. That's exactly what it means. I'm only kidding, of course.
Of course. I understand. We help you.
Wait. You need this to get in and out through the gate. Here. You're one of us now. A real red and white Union man. Take care, Harry.
thin man is smoking below an exhaust hood. As you step in, he nods toward the table. Okay, it's definitely not his name. Whatever you do, please don't call him Garancy Quebec. Please, it's not funny. The man puts his cup down and replies something, his left hand drawing arcs in the air. The man says a couple of sentences in that strange language of his. I'm pretty sure he asked you a question. He doesn't know your language. You can just say something cool in return.
Boss need more vodka?
Okay, so it's vodka that keeps the man happy and in good spirits. Clever move.
Of course, vodka. Now that makes a very, very special borscht indeed. Turning it up seems like a dangerous idea, honestly. The place is a powder keg. The cook gives you a long, inspecting look, then shrugs too. He smiles. It's almost like music. The man ponders. The man says, I'm pretty sure he doesn't know your language.
Okay, so it's vodka.
Of course, turning it up. See, he smiles, nodding vigorously, then pours half a bottle of vodka. He smiles and nods in. You see a heavy steel door with the cobalt blue, old cobalt paint. It leads to a side building. The door does not budge.
You do? It's a door in the back of the kitchen. Why do you care where it leads? Eccentric. But okay, I suppose we could look into it.
It's hardly a side investigation. You already have a name for it.
It's hardly worth the title. Anyway, got it.
Can I help you? Thanks. I hope you found what you were looking for. As it should be. Anyway, thank you for returning my key. Another thing. Great. I love those. Oh yes, that door. Sure. There's nothing mysterious about it. It's just a door. No, I don't have a key. I don't know how to get there. And I don't care either. It's not like I've been wondering about it for 10 years. Or some boring storage space with a bunch of old junk.
He's attempting to maintain an air of indifference. It's absolutely not good.
Fine, okay, a little. But my job doesn't leave me time for wondering about one locked door. So I haven't opened it. I have cleaned the whole place 100 times over. Yes? Yes, have you got it? A lot. For the drinks and... Like what?
That sugary black rum stain on the counter makes you teary-eyed with joy. It's almost touching how syrupy and sticky it is. How long have you been up already? Oh, excuse me. Do you have something better to do than lust for sweet syrupy rum and lemonade? Yeah, man, yeah. Your Mesolimbic reward pathway is... What happened, man? You used to be cool. Get your drink on and your act together. The worker is in a deep slumber.
Hello, sweetie.
Wait, whose? Her eyes move up and down.
Why, you are, officer. You're a handsome man, officer. You must forgive me. I'm getting so scatterbrained. I'm Lena. My husband Morel and I are staying with our friend Gary just down the street.
This Lena is wacky enough for the motley crew. Hire her on the spot.
Oh, sweetie, I heard your conversation with the manager about your financial trouble.
You must be joking. Although our pay does sometimes.
It's not easy to assert your... Oh, no, I'm so sorry. I don't have money for you. If there's anything... Yes, officer. You look rather dazed. Like a stunned fox. But surely things can't be that... Oh, my. You know where we are, right? That's right. And where is the Whirling in Rags cafeteria? Yes, indeed. Yes, and... Revachol? The new. Much has changed. Speaking of history, you know. That's right, dear. How splendid.
Her relief is palpable. She was getting pretty worried about you there. But now...
I can tell that this is taxing for you, so I'll just ask one more question. What regime are we living under? What mode of government? Nope. Sadly not.
Meaning, buying is voting.
Oh dear. And you were doing so well. There aren't any cops in Revachol, not in the traditional sense, the status of... But we should stop for today, sweetie.
She's scared now. She's realized you really are brain damaged.
You were doing quite well up until the end there. It does look like you're having trouble remembering things.
A sigh. The lieutenant buries his nose in his nose.
But maybe a fresh set of eyes is what we're... A defeat, I'm afraid. The people of this archipelago tried to build... Of course, sweetie, someone more educated...
No.
Of course. Then I don't know. Someone rich, maybe? Wealthy people are educated.
That's a good point. This doesn't look like Rich Central.
Whatever do you mean? Sequence killers? Oh my. But I think you already have...
A partner who needs you to help him get a corpse down from a tree. I can assure you, with absolute certainty, there are no sequence killers.
Now, gentlemen, no need to squabble. I wouldn't be of much use. Thank you, but... Martinez isn't the most wheelchair-accessible place, you see. Perhaps another time. Yes, dear.
A paraplegic is someone with limited or no ability to use the lower half of their body. Paraplegia is...
That's quite all right. I'm used to... Of course, dear.
The door is closed. This door can still... The lieutenant... Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox.
All right.
The dashboard like a leopard. The lights unfold.
There you go. I'll turn them off from the remote.
As you hold your ledger's clip under the headlamp, an iridescent hologram appears.
There she is. Revachol West.
Around the borders of the watermark are dozens, no, hundreds of micro-perforations. The rectangular watermark is overlaid with the logo of the RCM, and yet the major arteries of Revachol are all recognizable.
Let me see. Right here. It has its problems.
There are many of them, and they are divided into... The first row has 18 dots. Not bad for what? You don't even know what it means yet. The next is the... You count 216 perforations. Considering that nice, large number, a wave of pride washes over you. The last row has 3 perforations. That's it.
Those are perforations. They represent your record as an officer of the RCM. They are your statistics, as it were. I should have guessed you'd keep a record.
Alpha male officers who are proud of their numbers often do.
The first row represents your years of service. 18 years. That's what it says. I might have guessed even longer based on your age. What did you do all those blissful years of your youth? Yes, that does seem quite... This next row, the one that... Wow, more than 200. It's quite a lot, even for someone who's been on the force for nearly 2 decades. Usually, clearing more than 10 cases a year puts you in the 90th percentile of all RCM officers. Right. Those are your confirmed kills. You've got precisely 3 perforations there. For an RCM officer, especially Precinct 41, which is in the Jamrock quarter, it's rather tame. There are certain officers who treat their kills like some kind of ghoulish game, but it seems as though you are, or at least were, one of the good ones. So we have that to be thankful for. If you want to pour out the booze you've been carrying around,
a dark pool of moonshine spiked borscht appears at your feet. The chunks of beet shimmer in the lights of the Kanema.
Very noble of you. Are we done here? Everyone has their... Personally, I find it helps to keep up a few hobbies. Why not gardening? Yes.
The lieutenant nods.
Right. I'll go turn on...
You can now see your statistics on your journal page, to the right of the task description.
As you turn, a bright light catches your eye, making you squint. From a distant sunset, a stage light, flash photography. What are you, deaf? They're perfect. Like rock star. Yeah, you have. You're a big dick cop, Dick Mullen. With a sudden flash, the world freezes around you. see rows of toy soldiers guarding the rest of the trinkets displayed on the table. Some on horseback, others in rags, others yet in bright blue uniforms. Everything you pick out seems faded, chipped, and sad somehow. Most of them are just broken toys. This set of soldiers isn't meant to look impressive.
You're probably talking about the revolutionaries, yes? I think their poverty has been exaggerated for effect. Maybe.
Big men on big horses, clad in lamella armor.
I used to be very serious about my Franco-Nigerian night.
They're not all blue. These figurines also wear gold coats.
Which ones? Ah.
The boomboxes on the shelf look well-loved and well-traveled. Chipped, dented, they stare at you with the one especially catches your eye. Deep gold and amber plastic. Just make sure it works before you buy it.
Is the Harman Welshie W2. Made in Vespa. Designed in Seoul. Plays all reel-to-reel format. Absolutely.
That's odd. Why doesn't he like music?
The stuff I record myself. Silverware
Maybe you should ditch music as well.
If police work means playing tapes, sure.
The boomboxes wait. A typical Martinez streetlight sits among assorted floor and table lamps. The light pole has been carefully cut, and the wiring has been redone and attached to a standard indoor. This would make quite a statement in your living room.
Yes, officer. As you see,
His manner is casual, but
it was brought to me to be altered.
We are not here to investigate the theft of city property. You have to admit it's rather clever.
700 real. A bargain, I dare say. The light has undergone 3 transformations, and every transformation, large or small,
the light has been removed and rewired. That's 2.
The most important transformation is the light's placement among ordinary indoor...
Okay, that checks out.
It's not often that I see officers from the RCM in my pawn shop. What can I do for you? I haven't had any problems myself, though some of my...
Who are your customers usually?
All kinds of people come through here. Locals, travelers, people looking for a deal, people looking for a keepsake, people who are terminally bored. As you can see, I have a wide selection of goods for everyone to choose from. It keeps me entertained.
He's well composed, but underneath it you sense psychedelic processes bubbling. Some kind of drug, maybe. Feeling warm and enthralled by the movement of light, while the mind continues to race forward. Lucky bastard. He's probably on Parolidon. It's tough to come by on a drug developed by the military to treat and prevent radiation sickness. It has psychedelic side effects, and it makes your eyes turn yellow.
Why on earth? These are prescription. I can't really see without them. Parolidon is just something since I was with the Emergency Relief Brigade, had to take it for...
He's taking it for mental and emotional, not physical pain these days.
We were an all-volunteer force, self-organized. Tried to help the fire brigades contain the spill.
On the patch, gamma radiation lines crossed with a red drop of...
I lived by the river since I was a small boy. The Esperance didn't have the art. There wasn't much to volunteer for. A bad idea. Some poor leftist.
The People's Pile was the Type U particle construction began during the Commune of Revachol. The people continued work on it after the Commune. Needless to say, a primitive nuclear reactor, an emergency valve defect resulted in steam pressure blow.
There's a reason why everyone's tried to forget any of it ever happened. And why no one. So much disappointment. No one's. Everyone's. A bunch of poor people built themselves a... The cleanup happened 15 years ago. I was young then. Later, so I came to Martinez. I like the theory more than the story.
Yeah, you gotta get in on those vortices, my man.
I doubt it, but I can try and answer any questions you may. I do my best to keep my distance from all manner of butchery.
He doesn't know anything. The pawnbroker's gaze is already fixed on the dancing colors.
Someone else came here earlier today asking the same question. I promptly sold her the gun you pawned a couple days back.
This is a pawn shop, and it did feel as if you've met before. Oh God. The lieutenant shifts from one foot to another, alert.
You were adamant about getting rid of it, officer. Said you were undeserving of a service weapon of the Revachol, and I don't like keeping guns around the shop. She didn't seem like a policeman, although she kept referring to herself as a pig, which was odd. I found, truth be told, she was
Right, so let me get this right. You sold your sidearm, issued by the citizens' militia, and now a civilian is running around the streets of Martinez with it? In that case, she'll be happy to get a visit from us, if we can find her.
My apologies, officer.
A needle in a haystack. There is nothing you can do about it, right?
Maybe. Shady-looking guys came in here yesterday, looking like they'd just taken off their Wild Pines overalls. They went their way. It was a trip, but you know.
Wait, then it might be true.
If maybe Claire really is tracking down your gun.
People as oleaginous.
Of course. Sure thing. Sure, man. Have you tried it before?
The lieutenant steps away, pretending to admire some. He won't be your knock, but he won't be thrilled about this either.
Here you go, man. Of course. Let me have a look. Another time, perhaps.
A couple of indicator lights are missing from this control panel. This panel usually you pull the lever all the way up. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. A spring brings the lever back to its original position. Wasn't there a sign over there saying function? You pull the nothing happened. A spring brings the lever. Wasn't there a sign?
Evening, officers.
A burly man hangs out by the waterlock, carving up a generous serving of salami with an old hunter's knife. His eyes are fixed.
My friend Barry the Butcher is stuck on the other side of the waterlock. I'm keeping him company and eating his salami.
From the corner of your eye, you see a man in a yellow shirt and...
Very good stuff. Anything I can do for you, officer? I wasn't here to witness it, but those look like tire tracks on that sign. Weird, huh? Too bad it also takes a year and a day to repair anything around here, especially a waterlock. It's supposed to operate the waterlock, but as noted, safety measure. Turns out the panel needs a special key to be reactivated. Wouldn't want anyone moving the waterlock with debris still in the channel. It'll be restarted on Wednesday morning. You want to do the honors when the time comes? Great! Just drop in on Wednesday if you want to see the waterlock at work. They say
The coast part of the map is inaccessible.
well, there's the fishing village, an abandoned fish market. Yeah, not really much else. Just sure thing.
It is salty. It is savory. It is...
Want some too, officer?
Why not?
This coin-operated viewer is facing southwest. Its coin slot is full of fossilized bubblegum, rendering the machine. A thick layer of graffito covers the lenses. You spell out the word Onug, written on the other side. With N and C, that's Kuno on the lens. Under the graffito, a sea of blues and greys appear. Behind the water lies a coast, studded with concrete and reed. You know this to be the star of Pericarnassus, or the Cairo. Around the large wooden building you see chunk. The metal feels
probably some.
A simple but... This coin up. Why place a tourist attraction in the middle of...
There was a revitalization project. They got as far as the street lamps and that statue on the intersection. That's odd.
Your money disappears into the coin slot. The curtains on the display open. The lenses shift. The ghost sharpens into an islet in the bay. In the ruins, a man made... It looks as if it was abandoned quite...
Really? I don't have the eyesight to make it out.
Whoa. What? A bridge with loose nails and rot-infested wood that creaks in the wind. A construction code violation if there ever was one.
True. They never cleaned up the war damage. The bridge is fine enough.
striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as
Good evening, officers. I'm Joyce. Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM. Nothing, honestly. I've said it to every drunk in town, and you're the first one who's responded.
Relax. She meant it in jest.
I'm glad to see you here.
Like steel. There is strength there. If she wanted,
I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will. Glad.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode.
He's trying to signal something. He wants you to play up your... It happens quicker than a shooting star. But did the lieutenant just wink at you?
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group. What we do, I'm afraid I don't speak for...
There was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to merely represent. She nods.
Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets. I believe the official title is Senior Labor Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines.
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago.
Wait. She just admitted that the lynching and...
Now they won't even let me into the harbour. There's a 2-meter-20 racist behemoth blocking the gates. Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd...
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these...
But the strike began in December.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on.
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and...
Ludicrous even. It's meant.
Mr. Clare told him to... How did he put it? Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the union. There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say? Every worker, a member of the board.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
In its defense, another said, demand democracy. Pretty tame stuff compared to every worker, a member of the board. It's quite simple, you see. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision, about what? About anything really, it needs this. Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they...
An opening gambit, surely.
So I hoped. But this type of opening is usually followed by a more reasonable offer. I've yet to hear one. Just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again. And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in...
Excuse me, from whom did you hear?
I first heard it from the boyer at the gates. The one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, call me mañana.
This checks out.
The scabs? You mean the huddled masses of Jamrog? come to plead for work where the union refuses to.
Don't let her answer it herself.
If they were organized by Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it would be a company secret. I could not share.
It's implied. She's open to discussing this matter with you at a later.
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interest.
She's being sarcastic. Don't take her performance literally.
Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood.
If you were to prick it with something sharp, you could see it oozing out. A knife, maybe? No, a rapier.
He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar. Yes, Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does. And when one's term as foreman is up, the other. It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues. The Débardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that. Organized labor at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say?
A mob. The Débardeurs are a crime syndicate.
Refreshingly honest, officer. And your opinion, detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Débardeurs Union is... Thank you for being candid. Sadly, Wild Pines have cooperated with what amount... I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the Union. She disappeared.
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore, or coming to work.
This forewoman, her name?
Sadly, the company records do not even give a name. She's just forewoman in private correspondence, Holly. I don't even know if it's a sir or given name, and I don't have access to the union's files. Indeed. The company suspects foul play, but there's nothing they could do. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen.
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
Of course. How else can I help? Quite a few things, I'm afraid. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced. And this is my colleague from Precinct 41, Detective Dubois. I'm afraid Harry...
Oh, and what happened to yours, Detective? I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode? I can't hear you, darling. Speak up, please. Oh dear. Some kind of I do believe you, naive as that may sound. I simply can't imagine what you gain by faking such a condition.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is.
Of course, I sympathize, but I'm afraid I simply can't share it.
She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial...
Of course. But before the situation is extremely volatile. Why, yes I am. Of course there are. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around? Yes, we are. We are on Le Caillou.
Technically, the neighboring Ozone and Fas Alamer island groups are archipelagos, while La Caillou, by contrast, is a single. She nods attentively.
The boat? No. It is called Coeur de Lake. It's a pleasure craft. And my sloop?
I'm enjoying this part of the interview. It has so little.
Officer, I assure you I'm a highly qualified pleasure craft.
The crowns of her teeth are porcelain, white as the boat's hull as she smiles. Qualified pleasure craft operator. So charming. Where's the damn license?
I just renewed its safety inspection last month, officers. It is completely seaworthy. In fact, it's taken part in not one, but two insulindic.
Actually, you don't. It is a little known fact among those who police that the Wayfarer Act.
The Wayfarer Act is one of the few pieces of legislation governing. It's one of the foundational laws in Revachol. It's a law that keeps Revachol what it is, in limbo.
No need to politicize this. You.
Of course.
The woman is silent, smiling while the waves lap against the hull. In your hand, the Republic of Vespa. Formerly, it is a stable country. The woman, born in the year 3 in the commune of...
Yes. Joyce is much more efficient. My husband is. I have
She nods and returns the plastic bag to her coat.
Officer.
The crowns of a qualified pleasure craft operator.
Why wouldn't it be? Officer.
The crowns qualified...
I just renewed its safety inspection. The other time I would. Why wouldn't it be? Good. This reality.
Yes, reality is your side case. An experimental side case.
Ah, yes. The episode. Sounds like an acute case of encephalopathy, now that I think of it.
Don't be phased, madame. He functions perfectly well. He only needs a lowdown on all of reality.
We may be here a while then. Ask away, officer. I'll help however I can.
All right, we're in. I know these all look good, but begin with the first, okay?
We're in Martinez, baby. A casual term of endearment popular among the 50-plus crowd. Aren't we all?
She refers to your corresponding ages.
Martinez is a district of Revachol. A very small district. You would be excused for not knowing about it. I'm not a good ambassador. I've only been here once before. This place used to be a province. A workers' resort before the city swallowed it and the artillery did its work. The reeds are the real star of the show here now. It's not really a sea, it's the Bay of Revachol. Yes, we're on an island in an ocean. The world's largest body of water.
Known to the early Revacholians as Les Immensités Bleues, the Blue Immensities.
Caillou, as you already know. Imagine a pebble. A smoothed-over pebble amidst a great blue sea, misshapen, cracked. The cracks are the River Esperance. We're in the Revachol. Revachol is what you call a city. The great kind. History detective. They built this city to resolve history. Our part in it, at least. Our centuries. The nations of the Occident, or migrant workers from Seminine and Ile-Marie in the DeLorean century. 300 and... They say it's where the terrible questions of our time will be answered. By that I mean, conflicts. Ideological conflicts. We are standing on a fertile, self-sufficient island able to sustain up to 200 million people. In the I think it's fair to say so. Martinez is about
A sparkle of lights on the horizon, like evening stars.
22 kilometers from the center of the world. That soldering iron is the bank of the world building.
Silence. The water, the light. It's as though you're seeing there is no recognition, only the immensity of the sea and the cold radiating from it.
We are where we are. I have no truer answer to give, unfortunately.
This is one thought you need to complete.
Was there something else you wanted to know? I remember something about a...
This has been informative. Thank you, ma'am. I'm sure Might I suggest not asking them all right now? Messier will be here later too, and tomorrow. Isn't that true, ma'am?
Absolutely. My commitment here is long-term.
Oh, of course not. You are already diligent for getting this far.
Indeed. I'm always at your service. These are unimportant times, Detective. For the big time. The revolution. It's quite easy. Every 100 years or so, our species gets together to decide what's next, who gets shot in the head, and who gets the mineral rights. It's a real... Those would be the communists. Generally speaking, 40 million people got shot in the head during the World Revolution. But the communists... They... Oh, and the anarchists too. They shot them well. So well.
She likes the totality of it.
Indeed. They piled them in mass graves in Ozon. And did they ever? Before they got shot themselves, they shot 2 million people.
Yeah, it was a kerfuffle, all right.
Yes. The Insulindian deluge, they call it. Yes. An acute thiamine deficiency can be exacerbated by alcoholism. Oh, lots of people. Even the king got shot in the head. Or thrown. The real king abdicated and lived out a long... I prefer the term risk-averse. King Guillaume was nobody's fool. He could smell a PR disaster brewing. Him and tens of thousands of his wonderfully fascist kings. The liberals got the mineral rights. And by mineral rights, I mean everything. Liberals are usually middle-class people, Detective. Or the remaining gentry. Some were rich enough to stay with the Constitution. They didn't win so much as survive. We were the last ones standing when the war ended.
We. She's one of them. Of course.
To foreign intervention. The coalition. Those people really took the mineral rights. The liberals took everything that wasn't nailed to the ground. The coalition took the ground. The ocean, the laws, and the coalition of nations. Grad, Mesk, Vesper, Messina, Oranje, and Sur-la-Clay. The armed center of the moralists believe, at least not in the same manner and volume, this is their zone of control. They embolden the RCM with...
The color of moralism is blue. The official motto of Moral Intern, or Moralist International, is a blue forget-me-not, a piece of...
A devout man of the center. Hard to come by. It's good to have someone who takes a moderate approach to hedge the turn of the century revolution. Don't answer it. The revolution began in '02 on the Isla of Gras. It wasn't a who, but a what. A pandemic of Zarat. A particularly virulent It made people overthrow their governments. Of course not.
It was a funny time in history.
From Revachol and Grab? Why? You and I, officer. Modernity.
51 minus 8 equals 43.
Time flies. Anxious to hear more about mineral... They are what they are. Anyway, enough sentimentality. It's a neurological disorder caused by lack of vitamin B. Well, it's either bariatric surgery or long-term...
She nods slowly.
What I am not is a basic term of reality.
There may be a way to get her speaking about herself.
A bird? A sphenicid? A flightless bird of the polar regions? Some sort of krill hunter? Of course you're not, my dear. I'm just terrible at guessing game. Ah! Or two. A pre-revolutionary tenement. Old build. This one used to be 8 to 10 stories tall. A real high-rise by the standards of mostly the urban middle class, I believe. This was once Splat, splat.
You could be wrong, but from here it appears as if she's running the...
Wonderful. The girl in the old lady rags. Looks like a sullen and rebellious member of a teen... Yes, you and I belong to the supraculture. We're common. She prefers a fantasy world, an infraculture with its own dress code and I can't. That's how simple it is. All right. What next?
Suddenly, you're not so sure you're part of the supraculture. Of course, no time for silly infracultures. There are more pressing, reality-centric...
Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know. More lessons in basic reality. Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know. Anything else? Of course, Detective.
Wow, you work hard. Oh, yes, you hustle. You're a provider. It's tough out there, but you keep it real and, oh yeah, like a horse. Look at yourself. You're a human pedometer. You must have walked 200,000 steps. That is the sign of a hustler who never gives a little. You make money. You got guilt. It ain't easy, but you, sure. And has it been easy? Are you rich? That's right. You work harder than anyone. You almost rode yourself to the grave, and you're still practically a... Because of the taxes. Aren't taxes almost non-existent in the Gotham estate? That is Revachol. Every time you wipe your ass, they got their direct and their indirect modes of taxation. Sales tax, excise duty, extraction tax, alimony. 98% of all your money. Here you go, hustler. Fight the righteous fight. Free the people. Keep it real. Keep it street. Keep foaming at the mouth furiously on the tax issue. A sturdy metal door. The door rattles against your knuckles. The door rattles.
Stop banging on the door! I'm not letting it... Doesn't matter who I am. Now go on.
From within.
The police? Everyone knows the police. No, I already told you. I won't be responsible. Go check the backyard door. Maybe someone there will.
Backyard door. Then
Madame, I assure you.
there is no reply. Just faint.
Guys, you better keep walking.
This is a wall on the side of an apartment building. You have no clue. So many walls all over.
Are you trying to sneak up on me? Come to slip.
Apparently, she doesn't like people's logic error. She is not sleeping right now.
Pig's come to take me out. Trying to snuff me out. Don't get fucking clever with me, pig. You think you're so clever. Trying to sneak up.
There must be another way into the building.
It's been a week and now they show up?
We should think about calling it a day, maybe. You should take care of that, then. Let's talk to him anyway. An officer of the RCM shouldn't be sleeping in the street.
This must be it. The basement door is weather-worn.
That's probably the door Everett mentioned. We still need to get the key from this manana first, though.
sturdy metal door guards the
You're back.
is what you want to say, but it isn't that easy. Look at that lady. Take a well-kempt, yet tastefully short bob, positively statuesque, while dull orange pearls. These are the kind eyes of the rich man that seem to say, within reason. Now look at you, you misery-clad simian. You're poor, poor as balls. You can't ask this person for money. You're too... Oh, but you are. Too ashamed to ask this person for money. Too scared to belittle yourself in her eyes.
As I was saying, if there's any way I may be of assistance, please don't hesitate to ask.
The dented yellow mill. There is a hollow. Your toe has suffered damage. It's
cool. You really...
He does not actually think it's cool. If anything, the lieutenant feels...
I don't. Let's go.
Inconspicuous pile of the roof because there's a secret there it is. You see a shabby little door.
What is this then? A tool shed?
Be still, my beating heart. It's amphetamine. The lieutenant isn't studying the powder. There's a good, vague way to ask where he stands on drug use. Professionally, I mean.
No, I'm just a regular detective. Perhaps not, but that there.
You see a set of tires.
It's raining again. It was clear just an hour ago. I'm a nighthawk. What can I...
She's still here because of you.
You don't have to stay here because of us.
I like the city at night.
Can I help you? Do I have a shaker in my hand? Is this...
It's not a shaker. It's nothing. He's holding nothing.
Am I wearing a little bow tie? Am I smiling? Do you see? That's right. I'm the cafeteria.
Play it calm. This man needs to understand you need a drink to help the community deal with police stuff.
Oh, well, in that case, let me pour you a nice, big, refreshing marinella. Do you want that out of a... Don't be an imbecile. I'm not going to serve you a marinella. I have work to...
You see a heavy
Can I help you? Yes. Have you got it? Does that arrangement include you paying me what we already agreed you owe me? What about what I have been...
literary demotion. That's the worst.
Good luck trying to use it.
Draconian measures.
All the locks have an electronic component. They have to be unlocked down, not until you bring me the money.
Okay, I might have something in my motor carriage we can use when you're done.
Oh, Lieutenant, we're done here. Yes, have you got it? Does that arrangement include you paying me what we... game? Everything is just a game to you, isn't it? Oh, wonderful. Try to do that. I'll have to call you an ambulance. Not until you...
Okay.
Oh, Lieutenant. Do I have a...
It's not a shake.
Am I smiling? Because I'm not a
Play it calm. This man needs to understand.
Well, you're not getting it!
This is a thoughtful exchange, but can we move on?
Yes. Have you... Does that arrangement include you paying me what we...
I understand your predicament. I feel I must remind you that...
Forgive me for saying this, but your colleague seems more committed to drinking, and... I mean no offense. It's really nothing personal. I just have to not until you...
Okay.
Oh, Lieutenant.
The door is... this door. Still, the lieutenant gives you